So, thank you, Daniel. So, good afternoon. So, I hope everyone's enjoying the conference so far. It's almost over, so it's been a pretty good couple of days. Yeah, as Daniel mentioned, my name is Akhil Bhandari. I work for the Department of Communications and the Arts, and I've been working with the department for 7 years and working on mainly the digital communications area and working on projects migrating the external websites and the minister's site to the Gov CMS platform. So today I'll be talking about our new minister's site, which is a smarter social for ministers site using Drupal feeds. So I'll be showing the site. It went live earlier this year, and basically it's a new site, but what I mean by new is basically we grabbed all of the design and layout that we had before, made it faster, better, and stronger. On launch, we had new front-end features and some significant improvements in the administration side of things. And we obviously moved it all to GovCMS hosting as well. Now, quick hands up. How many people are part of a web team here? Good. Okay, so, and who's responsible for ministerial sites? Yep, about half. Okay, so how long would you normally have to update a site with a new minister? Yesterday, yeah. 2 weeks? 1 week? Less? 1 day, yeah. Okay. So who's looking forward to the next change of government coming up? So hopefully today I'll be able to show you a few things that we've done that will make things a bit faster if you're on GovCMS especially. So 5 years ago we had a change of minister. It was to Malcolm Turnbull. He took over the portfolio and he was quite a different minister from our previous ones. Now the first obvious sign of this was that his social network was a reach of over 230,000 Twitter followers. Does anyone know their minister's Twitter followers? No? Okay, so just to give you an idea, I'll read out the numbers there. I had to dig these up a bit and I'm missing a couple of years. So when Minister Turnbull came on, it was 2013. That's what I was looking for. And he had about 230,000 followers. In 2015, now this figure is just a month after he became PM, it was 470,000 there, 620, and now he's around about 1 million. So he was quite different, and he also did something differently. All of his media releases were only sent out by Twitter. So we had someone who used technology quite a bit, and we had 4 weeks to build a new social-based website to take advantage of his following. Now, creating a new site with social sounded pretty easy. Just plug in the API and let it run. But we had to build a new site that hooked into the social channel APIs. And most importantly, we had to use hashtags to filter content, as any party political content and personal opinions by the minister were not allowed to be displayed on our ministerially funded departmentally funded site. Now, we were also able to add a quick channel filter that allowed us to show content by channels. And we also created the ability to add traditional content types that included speeches, news, and transcripts. In the end, the result was a very visually rich and user-friendly site that had dynamic content that updated with social. Now, there were a couple of drawbacks to this. We had no control over the incoming feeds from social. In particular, with Twitter, it only lasted for about 6 weeks on the site through the API before it disappeared. So about every 6 weeks or so, content would either just go missing if nothing was added. So it made archiving very difficult, because when there were snapshots taken by Pandora and the like, it was inaccurate at sometimes because it looked like there was nothing on there. So now the new site was launched and it looked really good, and we had it running in time, and Turnbull was very happy. So the next thing we decided to do earlier this year was to move it to the GovCMS SaaS platform, software as service. Now the two drivers being that it was able to reduce the number of platforms we had running for our external sites, since we already had our departmental sites on GovCMS, and it was also allowing us to establish a single platform for all our publishing. Quick pause. Now, shifting to GovCMS presented its own challenges. We had 3 main challenges. The first one was that there was no other existing GovCMS ministerial site. So that made everything that we did kind of a new thing to try out. The second challenge was finding the existing and relevant modules in Gov CMS SaaS environment, as we didn't have time to build anything new. The third one was making the administrative process as simple and efficient as possible by automating as much as we could. And this is due mainly to the constant and unpredictable nature of social media and publishing. So we began exploring several options in Drupal to be able to consume and manage the data. But the issue was filtering the content before it was being displayed onto the site, so nothing was going directly through. So I had a light bulb moment. To solve the first challenge, I realized that we could use a third-party platform that was used on our other departmental sites for Gov CMS that displayed and managed social media content. But instead of showing just a few items, we were able to display the entire site. So Stackler was a third-party social media content aggregator that allowed us to monitor specific accounts and channels and filter content as we needed. But it was more than that, it was also monitoring software. So it allowed us to monitor any keywords, hashtags, and accounts. This means that we could filter any of the minister's social accounts with hashtags to generate a single RSS output for each of the minister's social accounts. So now we're in business. Now, I'm assuming that you're all thinking, wow, you guys are pretty trusting to let the minister hashtag anything they wanted, right? So the answer is yes, we are. But we also had another tool in Stackler. It was able to pre-moderate or post-moderate any content that our media team deemed fit. So we were able to work with the media team and post-moderate any content as we needed. This made it pretty much a set and forget for the media team and for our department. So we worked with OPCIT. We were able to get all the content we needed into the system and be consumed by RSS. Then we developed the new system on Gov CMS, and we found that the Drupal feeds module was perfect to ingest any RSS like the one that Stackler output, which then created a post on the site for individual content pieces. Additionally, the administration interface also uses standard Drupal Gov CMS, and archiving was made easy as each of the pieces of content was permanent on the site. So some of the cool new features included a custom promotional grid area that allowed us to display ministers' profile pictures, and we had the ability to arrange these as we wanted. We also were able to add up to 4 ministers to our site. So for any of the larger departments out there that have up to 4 ministers, this is something that you can use if you wanted to use it. So we could also switch between a list and a grid view, and one of the more powerful features is that we could actually add custom color theming applied to each of the individual ministers with no coding. So, quickly going to switch over to show you what the site looked like. So this was the first version, so before it went on to Gov CMS. This is the original one we made with all our social posts included. So you can see there's basically a stream below with the individual ministers and their social content coming through. If you wanted to see the individual ministers, you would just click on it. This is just a Pandora link, so I can't actually run any of the content on there. And eventually, we then built this earlier this year. So it looks and feels very similar, and does some cool things. So now we just have filtered content. We can change that into list view as well. And then go down to individuals. Okay. So now, I'm just going to quickly go back. So just one last thing, going back to my early question about how long it takes to set up a minister's site. What if I told you you could update a site like this in just 5 minutes? That is from scratch, creating a new minister, adding their content and custom colors as well. Does anyone believe me here yet? I was going to do a live demo, but I've been having issues with my system, so I'm going to show you a recording which I recorded in 5 minutes this morning without any cutting. So Hopefully this will work. This is the problem I was having earlier. I have network issues and everything's done virtually.
So I'm amazed enough that you've got somebody who's a smart minister.
Well, the site's smart, you know. And it'll probably open 5 times now. Okay. So you can see here we've got the site. Actually, I'm going to look this way, it's easier. And so this is the site that I showed you just a little bit earlier. So I've already logged in here. And the first thing we need to do is use taxonomy to build out the minister's profile. I'm not sure why it's repeating there. I think it's open twice. Okay, so we go into the structure, go down to taxonomy. We add one of the vocabularies for minister. Yeah, I've also added some content here earlier for myself. I've left a few of the mistakes I made just to show you the timing that it takes is less than 5 minutes, even with my mistakes. So in this case, it's just a demo minister. We've added some details there. We'll then go back in and create one for the palette for this minister as well. So this is the theming. I'll show you where the theming is. It's basically on any of the content, there's a little color tag that indicates this content is part of this particular minister's profile. So now that we have the minister, we can start creating some content. We'll create a minister content type. You can see there I've got that in my list now. I'll start creating the rest of the profile. I'll add an image. Yeah, I was bored. See, I probably could have cut this out. See, this is real, this is raw. So once that was added in there, you can build out the rest of the profile. This is the display name, first name, second name. We have titles. You can put as many titles as it will fit. I think we can fit up to 4 or 5 without it kind of going over the tile that we have in place. You can change the details that are about the house. Go back to the palette. We've already created the palette. Now we just select it. You can change the text that's over the tile of the display. You can add any bio, which will pop up as a modal, and same with the contact. We have 2 options for contact. It's their office and the Parliament House address. Again, this will also open up as a modal. You can add the various Twitter accounts, and this is just for display, so this will pop up on their little tile there, and you can just go directly to their accounts. Yeah, I missed a field. What's the time on this so far? So it's 3 minutes so far. Now we're just going to make sure we're getting all the feeds coming through. So I haven't demoed Stackler, so I prepared that a bit earlier. And that was basically creating a RSS feed through some accounts that we've already got set up for arts in this case. But that'll give you an RSS URL, and then we will add that in a second. So right now we're just setting up the feeds. I'm just going to copy this across and clone and update this to add the right details. This is using the taxonomy now. And what this will do is, as it comes through on the feeds, it'll actually tag everything with the particular new minister that we've added. And it takes about 15 minutes for a cycle for the RSS feeds to come through, but you can also force the feed through. So this is the RSS feed for the site, and I'm now going to just force that through to import it manually. And in a second you'll see that 50 items are coming through. And just there. So you might have remembered that I mentioned something about the grid area. So this is that promotional area up here. We're going to add one of the ministers, or the new minister, and it's as simple as just putting it into a drop-down. That's it. You can rearrange those in any order that you want, and there's my colour theming, nice and bright, which matches my shoes today. And you can see there now all the feeds and posts are coming through with the yellow at the bottom. And I'm also being added to the top. So there's my, that's it, 5 minutes. So, skip to the next slide. So just wrapping up, that's pretty much illustrating how we've created a new minister site using Drupal feeds. Literally takes 5 minutes to set up a new minister. You can go in and update the content for any part of the minister's content, add traditional content such as normal standard content types, or make changes to any part of the site there at all, just by going into the normal admin side. And that is our smart and simple social minister site. Thank you very much. Any questions?
If people want to get access to this,
It should be available in GitHub on Gov CMS. So this is part of the themes in the distro. So probably contact Department of Finance. I'm sure they can probably organise a copy of the site.